At the center of the universe, at the border between the light and the dark, stands Castle Grayskull. For countless ages, the heroes of Grayskull have defended the universe against the forces of evil. Walk through the Hall of Living Pictures and learn the history and mystery of the Masters of the Universe. Dive deep into the mythology of Eternia, Etheria, and more. For those who know the stories of Grayskull will come the power to be supreme, the power to be all-knowing, the power to be Legends of Grayskull.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 54 of Legends of Grayskull, the fan podcast where we discuss the history, the mystery, the magic, and mythology of He-Man, She-Ra, Eternia, Etheria, Nordor, Primus, new adventures, old adventures, Ladybird, mini-comic, golden books, anything and everything you can think of with that He-Man, She-Ra, Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power logo. I'm Matthew Dooch, here again with Sean Scavarna. Sean, how we doing today?
You just can't get rid of me. Every episode, it's here with Sean Scavarna. Here I am. I'm back again. I don't know why.
Yes,
it's like Indiana Jones once said. I'm like a bad penny. I just turn up.
Yes, he's back. Back again. Scavarna's back.
Back again.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Oh.
On 3 hours sleep and a lot of caffeine. I almost said cocaine. That shows you where my mind is at this point. No, don't do cocaine. Just do coke. I got coke right here. That's all you do.
Coke.
But anyway.
Plenty
of Coca-Cola.
All right, guys. We're happy to be back again. Quick rundown. Stay tuned. We have a live episode coming up this Saturday, February 6th. Don't miss it. It's going to be amazing. Great prizes. Details are coming towards the end of the episode, so stay tuned. We're also going to get to listener questions that we missed last time at the end of the episode. So stay tuned for all that. But first off, hit it, madam.
No, under, no, around. Oh, dearie my. Oh, we must work on these landings.
I agree.
Madam Raz, are you all right? Oh, dearie my, yes. But there was something important I had to tell you. Now, what was that again?
The news, madam, the news. It's time for the news.
So, Sean, tell us what we got.
Well, we're going to talk about thunder. My voice is too high. Anyway, Thundercats. We have Super 7. Now, after their post-Snake Mountain is now going to be the Thunder Tank, which the initial couple of images were released at the end of the week. And Pixel Dan did an interview with Brian Flynn, and they discussed many things in that video, some of which I don't remember because it had to do with the toy industry. But it basically talking about, Super 7 is now going in that direction with making this obviously one of the more iconic vehicles from the series, and that's their next big move. And pretty interesting. And I honestly didn't even see that coming from a mile away because I haven't been following the Thundercats toy line.
Yeah. They teased it pretty heavily over the last couple of weeks. And from what I understand, the Horsemen have worked on it. You got a big old Thunder Tank. Those are classics. Thundercats figures on there. Said there's room for all 6 Thundercats.
Yeah, in the video he opened up the back. There's 4 seats in the back, plus the laser, like you're showing right there. And it seats 2 in the front, just like it did on the show, which is pretty cool. And then it comes with, they have, you could have an open top in the front. You could have a clear top in the front. You could have the shielded top in the front. And what's funny to me is one arm of the new Thunder tank is as long as the original Thunder tank from LJN back in the 80s.
You can see they got the LJN one
So,
right there.
yeah, it really gives you a hint at the size of this. I think he said it was 27 inches long by, I think it was 11 or 12 inches wide and 9 inches deep. And you're going to fit 4 figures in the back without any problem, according to the video. The laser can be moved in and out. The claws on the front actually move up and down like the original, and the lasers are underneath it. There's a laser in the front that wasn't on the original Thunder tank.
Yeah, the one that pops up in the middle there.
Yeah, the one in the middle. And that supposedly is going to be it'll be shipped probably the beginning of 2022, he was saying.
That sounds about right. So
yeah, he said it takes about a year,
right,
production wise, for everything they work on.
Yes, and they're not making these up ahead of time. They're not they've got everything ready to go, but they're not going to pull the trigger until they actually hit whatever number they need to. And then there's the price tag. $450 plus shipping. Which we know Super 7 shipping does not run cheap. At all. And it's a shame because it is a beautiful looking Thunder tank. It looks insanely accurate. It's gorgeous sized. But I'm just gonna throw it out there. Snake Mountain was $599. Thunder tank, $450. And I know there's a year or so apart, probably closer to 2 years. What with the whole manufacturing process, Snake Mountain took a really long time to get out there. But for me, it is hard to believe that the cost of manufacturing has gone up that much in the past year.
Well, here's the thing. Watching the video, I will say this to start off. Anything I'm going to say is, anytime I've always heard the vitriol online about Super 7. There's a lot of people who are not the biggest fans. I've always been a middle of the road person. It depends what they do where I start having an opinion. Like when Mattel gave the license to Masters over to them and they made the Ultimates line of the first 5 figures, I was head over heels about Super 7 because I love the packaging. I love that they went for every possible thing that you could think of on those figures, with the exception of like the battle armor, which would have made it ridiculous to package those figures for He-Man, Skeletor, and Faker. And I was like, every other thing, you're getting a new head for Faker that wasn't released up until that point. And all this, and the different hairstyles on Tila and stuff, the different hair colors. So I was all about it, and then once they got into the classics line, I'm like, some of these aren't working the way that the other classics from Mattel felt, and so there's that waffling. And then I got into the Ultimates on Ninja Turtles, and I'm actually really happy with what they've done there. And I will say, every time I watch a video where Brian Flynn talks, he's like Svengali to me. Like every damn time, it's like if you have anything that you're frustrated with about that company, if I see a video about him, it's like the tone of his voice and his manner soothes your wounds to the point where at the end you're like, I love you, Brian. This works. Okay. And it's like listening to the video he did with Pixel Dan. He was talking about the fact that if you do a playset is it's tooled, and it's usually the exterior, and then maybe like a level or two on the inside, and there's not as much tooling to deal with on a play set. But on a vehicle with all the moving parts, all the different little areas, and he said the way the tooling is set up, it's like you have to tool because you're doing an interior and the exterior. You're doing it twice, which is twice the amount of a tooling budget compared to the play set, which is why the price is now leaning into more of a play set like a Snake Mountain versus, doing a $200 Thunder Tank or whatever. And another thing they actually said on there, because I wasn't involved on what is it, Hasbro Pulse, when they did the Razor Crest from the Mandalorian.
The Razor
I
Crest,
didn't
and they've done Jabba's sail barge. They've done 2 vehicles
Yes,
already.
and I did not realize the Razor Crest on there was $350 until they were talking about it in the video, and I'm like, oh. So then when I heard that, I'm like, well, that now all of a sudden it doesn't feel so far of a stretch to go $450 for something that is as big as the Thunder Tank is going to be, for me at least. Now here's
Right.
the question though for you, and I'll throw my answer out there. You and I are probably not the audience it's catering towards, though. I personally don't plan to buy it. I haven't gotten any of the Thundercats figures at all, and how much does it mean to you at this point, I guess?
Honestly, it doesn't. I don't collect the Thundercats Ultimates. But I want Thundercats fans to have nice things, and
Mm-hmm.
we're all playing devil's advocate here, but like the Jabba sail barge, that was $500 when it went up on
Mm-hmm.
Hasbro Pulse, and that's a lot bigger. It's got the interior, it's got the exterior. It's not even like a shell. That one was 49 1/3 inches long, about 15 inches wide, 17 inches tall. And that was 500. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's not out of the ballpark. And I agree. Brian is one of those guys who, and I did not get a chance to watch the video. It is an hour long. I'm like, good lord, guys, let's get bullet points here. Some of us got lives.
Well, when for our listeners, when Matt sent over the link to the video, he goes, maybe you could skim it, because he figured that is a time investment, but they went over a decent amount of stuff on there. Like one of the reasons that the price is what it is, according to him, as well, is a lot of the different kind of plastics that they're trying to use overseas is now being allocated to PPE wear and things like that because of the pandemic. So it is getting harder to get your hands on some of these materials they need to create the stuff that we love. Yeah. So there is like certain drawbacks to creating a toy now versus what it was to create a toy, in the last few years because of what's happening in the world. And there was something else I was going to say about it. Like he was going over like the different things of, well, here's this and here's that, and these are certain things. And the other, one other one real quick was, the Star Wars community is a heck of a lot bigger than a lot of other communities with a fan.
That's what I was trying to build to with the sail barge thing.
Yeah.
Sail barge needed 5,000 backers.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that Super 7 is going to get 5,000 Thunder Tanks made. So, and I'm excuse me, and I'm sure they doubt that they're going to get 5,000 Thunder Tanks made. So right off the bat, they will have to factor in a lower unit, which is going to result in a higher cost per unit. That's
exactly.
I know, guys. I'm waffling back and forth because again, I don't have any skin in the game really, because this is not something for me. But yes, there are plenty of reasons why it is the price it is. And yeah, I don't think it'll get that. It's not going to get that Star Wars level of backing. Of course, it's not. Nothing will. Masters doesn't. There's so many lines that don't get that Star Wars backing, and so that you got that right off the bat. Because even if they're selling, honestly, Thundercats, I'd be surprised if they're selling 5,000 of each Thundercat for the figures they're putting out. And then you got to figure with a high price playset / vehicle. I think they'd be lucky to get half of that, honestly.
He brought that up. Like he'll have people come to him and say, I'm in this group and 350 people in that group like Thundercats. And he's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean
Right.
350 people in the group are going to spend $450 on this
Right.
product, you know, like,
And that's still only 350.
it's a niche.
Hasbro needed
Yeah.
5,000.
Yeah.
You know. Now,
Yeah.
and maybe he commented on this, but I'll throw it out there. I think these companies need to stop playing their games and do just what Hasbro does and go, here's the number. Hit it, guys. Instead of doing
like
this,
the old Matty Collector
instead
kind
of the
of
Matty
too.
Collector, and even the Snake Mountain, like they did like an update, like, oh yeah, we're close, but they never said like, hey, we need 2,000 units to go into production. We need 5,000 units to go into production. I think if people can see an actual number, because a percentage can mean anything. Like, oh, we have 10% left to go. Okay, but it's 10% of 100,000. Or it's 10% of 1,000. Like that, those are two very different 10%. You know, and I think the time has come for these companies just to lay it on the table. Like, and that's one thing I give Hasbro credit for with Pulse. They have been doing it. They've been going, here's what you're gonna get, here's what it's gonna cost you, here's how many people we need to back it. Here you go, guys. Do you want it or not?
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think my guess, I don't have any insight into the Super 7 business model at all, but my guess is they don't want to reveal those numbers because you're going to see how low it is of a run they're going to try to do, and then that only turns it into, well, they're only going to make so many anyway, so why would I bother, you know, or something along those lines, because you got to also figure, you know, if it comes in and there's a defect, then it's like, well, that's eating into that number anyway, or whatever. I don't know how they rig it all up and all that stuff. But honestly, like if I was a collector that was collecting Thundercats, number one, it's a great time to be that person, because it's like the line is alive again, versus when Maddie was doing it, it was, oh, we're shutting the coffin lid on this. That's all you're ever going to get. And now they're worried about wave 5, he said in the video. Like they haven't even gotten 2 out.
Yeah.
And exactly. 2 is, he said that he said that there were some issues because of the international thing on that with the pandemic. So they're having their own.
Sure, there's a whole checklist you can take from. You know, we hear it every day.
Exactly. So and he said, you know, that wave 3 is already out there, wave 4, and then he's like, well, wave 5's waiting, but we're going to do Thunder Tank next instead, and then we'll deal with wave 5 and all that.
Well, and that's what I was wondering. It's like, I know they had this whole big thing where they did like a whole week of reveals, but to me, I think I would have waited on this Thunder Tank. I mean, the timing of it is just, you know, at least get wave 2 out. I mean, wave 2 went up for pre-order in December of 2019.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and I get everything that happened in the world, and we're not blind to it. But I mean, it's been over a year since you've taken pre-orders for wave 2, and you have yet to get them into customers' hands, and now you want them to pony up for a vehicle on top of the 3 other waves that they haven't gotten yet.
And that's pretty rough timing based on everything. Because he even said in the video, Pixel Dan was like, well, you know, wave 2, where is that versus everything else? Because we're already doing pre-orders for other waves. And it's like, well, and he said what probably is going to happen is wave 3 and wave 4 will hit faster. Wave 2 will come out eventually. And it'll probably all just snowball downhill with this. Then it's like, okay, and then on top of that, then there's the 450 for this if you want that. And it's like, yeah, the actual domino effect of this is kind of nuts if you're enjoying this line and wanting to get in, because it's a 2-month window.
Yeah, they did.
There is a payment
plan. There's a nice
plan.
big window. There's a payment plan. Absolutely.
But yeah, the fact that these things, if you're not ordering them straight through Super 7, you're doing Big Bad Toy Store, for instance. If this stuff is hitting one after the other, your bank account is going to be like, you know, blowing dust at this point, you know, coughing up dust, because just the other night I got my thing for Ultimates Leonardo and Ultimate Shredder.
Me too.
And I was a little like, I didn't expect that to hit then, because it wasn't even February yet. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm getting hit with these things. And Imagine getting all of it.
Well,
Imagine getting the whole wave and the next wave, and then it's like, and then 450.
and I get
So yeah,
and I get why Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth don't take payments up front, because they don't want to worry about having to potentially refund if something were to happen. But
sure.
it'd be nice if it was at least an option. Because I was going to bring that up too. A lot of people pre-order this stuff, no money down, and then when and honestly, I'm not even faulting the collector who buys it, because you're ordering this going, okay, well, this is coming in July, this is coming in October, this is coming in December. You're like, okay, I'm good with that. And but then all of a sudden with the delays, it's like, oh, now this is coming February, March, April. It's like, wait, huh?
Did not budget for that. Right. I budgeted for, by the end of the year, this is coming out or whatever. And so
it's odd timing. It's a high price point. The more I think about it, the price point probably is accurate. It's honestly, it probably is. But the bottom line of it to me is, like you said, if you're a Thundercats fan, this is probably the best you're gonna get, and that's coming from somebody who I think Masters of the Universe peaked with Classics. Like, Classics is the best line we will ever get. There may be some good ones still to come, but Classics was the best. We're never gonna see that character selection, the play sets, the vehicles, in the 6-inch scale. We will never see that again. With the rising cost of goods, everything else, I guarantee you, everything does. I wouldn't be surprised if down the road all toy lines are 3 3/4. With the rising cost of plastic and packaging and everything else, it would not surprise me at all. I don't want to just say suck it up and take it, but if you are a Thundercats fan who loves these Ultimates figures and have always wanted a Thunder Tank in this detail and in this scale, I don't think you have any choice but to go for it, right? I mean,
honestly, the only other did they make one for the 2010
they
show?
Made one for the
I don't even know. Okay, I don't remember. I had the LJN one when I was a kid. I remember I got that for a birthday present one year, and that was really cool because I actually enjoyed that vehicle. Yeah. It was a fun, pop it down and boom, everything attacks. So it's like, all right, that's cool. But like you're saying, for me, I'm the same way. Classics is my absolute ultimate favorite He-Man line. And so for me, it's like, I don't give a crap about the Origins Grayskull. Give me the Classics one, because that has bells and whistles that has never been done on any other version, including the vintage. And I'm like, based on, I've never heard of, across the board, a lot of bad things being said about Snake Mountain. I've heard a few things here and there that people were like, well, they could have maybe done or they could have done that.
There are a few things.
But
Grayskull is the better playset. Absolutely.
Well, but I'm going to say, though, I felt Super 7, based on their track record, actually pulled that across the finish line better than some might have even expected, possibly. But and the thing is, you're looking at Super 7, and for me, it's kind of a 50-50 shot. Are you going to get what you are excited about, or are you going to be not as excited about it? Like, anytime it's a female character, for instance, that's where I was eyeing up the Ultimate. The one thing the Thunder Tank did for me since the reveal is it made me go, let me take a look at these figures one more time, because I don't love Thundercats, but I actually I don't mind Thunder. Like, I like them. It's that whole, I like them like a cousin kind of thing. It's like, they're never going to be the first love, but there is this tangential thing with them where I can look at it and go, I can appreciate what they tried to do with the story, with the cartoon. And it made me look at what the pre-orders are still alive for and going, do I want to do Tigra? Do I want to do Chitara and maybe Mum-Ra? Because I like that Mum-Ra is at least a head taller than the others, because he should be a massive monstrosity kind of character.
Thundercats, great. It's a great line. The Thunder Tank looks amazing, and honestly, I do believe Super 7 will pull this off. I think they've delivered more than they've missed at this point, um, and I think they can do it. And if you want a 6-inch scale Thunder Tank with all the bells and whistles, this is it. Did they say anything about electronics in the video?
No, the headlight eyes actually are glow in the dark. They're not electronic. That kind of surprised me, but it also made me go like, I think that's interesting from a perspective of you don't have to worry about batteries ever in this thing. It doesn't
True.
make it electronic and have to break down. It's not exactly like if I think of a vehicle, there's that automatic. It should be a battery powered deal, so you can have the lights activate and all that. But it's like imagine if they did that, then you're gonna go 550. For
no, I was kind of hoping that
500?
that was included already. That was some of the speculations. Well, maybe there's electronics. Maybe it's got, like you said, the light up eyes or the headlights. Or even like a little. I don't know. Thundercats just always seemed, if I'm recalling correctly, I never had any of the toys. Like they had like the glowing eyes, and like that was very much a thing. And why doesn't anybody do light piping anymore? Like light piping is such an easy thing to do, where you got the hole, in the head or wherever, the clear or translucent plastic, and it gives that glow effect.
I didn't even know that was called light piping. Okay,
I think so. I could be wrong. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. And nobody does that anymore.
I from my personal perspective, like I had when I was a kid, I had Dark Side from Superpowers, and that was one you could definitely do that with. And I didn't mind it, but I don't know. For me, I'm a weird person on if something breaks the sculpt just to make a feature like that happen. I usually don't like it, and that's just my personal thing. Like I want it to just be the character. And like the original Thundercats, they had those rings that you could wear it on your finger. You poke it in the back on that little
that's what it was,
metallic,
rings,
and it was a battery charge. So you had the battery in the ring. And then all you did was connect it to that back metal piece, and then the lights would glow.
That's what it was,
And I didn't mind that more than other things because it was such a small little piece of metal that you were touching on the back of that. But at the same time, like they have the they're sending out the make good pieces right now. Like they have a new the Panthro shorts and the Jackal Man's shoulder area or whatever, the neck area. And in that, they actually have a Panthro where his eyes are lit up and it's painted. So you can have him like he's activated by the Thundercats
the Sword of Omens
signal. And the Sword of Omens when Lion-O needs help and all that. And I kind of dig that if you want to have him looking like that, you can swap the head and just do it like that instead. I honestly, I don't even know why they don't do that anymore, though, because it is kind of a fun. If you're not like me, where you're weird about it, it is a fun feature.
I think on a vehicle, it could be hidden pretty well. I want to say in the Turtles line, the Playmates Metalhead, I think, had the same feature, and it. He
did,
and it hit pretty well with him being robotic. Like it didn't look odd for him to have a little panel, on the back of his head.
Sure.
So I think in a vehicle you could probably get away with it a little bit better than like you said, Darkseid having a weird red blob on the back of his head.
Yeah. I actually think that's a great idea for the Thunder Tank.
That's what I'm saying.
The more since I think that would work nicely. But I don't know they didn't even get into that. He just said because Dan asked him about that, and he said, it's a glow in the dark piece, and it's not battery operated or anything. And it's like, all right, it is what it is. It's again, for as much frustration as some collectors might have with Super 7, there is a part of me that goes, but they're still a small company and they're still trying to do something to make these things appeal and still have a little something extra. It might not be exactly what you want it to be, but that's kind of fun that they're at least going a step or two further, they go, hey, let's make the headlights do something.
Yeah.
Let's not just make it, here's this painted, the headlight piece or
Super
whatever.
7 loves their glow in the dark paint. They use it every
They
chance
do.
they can get.
That's actually I have to admit that is actually something I think of when I think Super 7 now. It's like they had the glow in the dark the possessed Skeletor or whatever.
Yeah, way back with the
weren't they
Curse
glow
of
in
the
the
Three
dark?
Terrors.
The Curse of the Three Terrors and all that.
They used it on the
Yeah.
ultimate, the Faker head with the ultimate He-Man.
With the eyes, yeah, that's right.
They did the Baxter Stockman glow in the dark.
And Mamra, they have a glow in the dark one too. Yeah. So that's just it. They are
honestly,
of
I
our
wouldn't
era,
be surprised if that. Now that I think about that Panthro head that you're talking about, I wouldn't be surprised if those eyes didn't glow when someone turns off the lights.
I wouldn't do it then, because my issue with that is like I just bought a toy and I'm scared to go in my basement because Panthro might be like the children in that damn video again. Oh my god! I just turn around. Oh my god! Especially Panthro singing that. That sound like the devil's trying to like seduce you now. Holy crap!
Right.
I'm not worried about cousins now. I'm worried about Panthro.
Oh, we're going off the rails. Super
As
7,
Matt puts his head on the
Thundercats
desk.
Ultimates, Thunder Tank. Links down below for all the info. I'm going to drop a link to that Brian Flynn Pixel Dan video as well that I will watch eventually here. Alright.
That'll be our next news segment for the next episode. Matt's watched the video. Let's talk
about this. Patreon episode. Let's go. Alright. Madsakis. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'd hate to ruin your name like you've ruined other things. So for those who don't know, there's this artist. Excuse me, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Oh, I didn't want to take this too negative, guys, but this is just... Okay, disclaimer before I get going. To each their own. I am no fine art connoisseur. If you like this art, great for you. Jump back with us in probably like 15 minutes, because you're not going to like where this is going. Excuse me. So, we got this artist named Madsakis. He is a Japanese artist, I believe, who takes things and graffitis them and calls them art. He had this big show, and it was all like you can see in the picture I threw up on the screen here. He's got this gigantic He-Man riding Battle Cat in the vintage style toy, and he spray painted all over it. Signs and scribbles, and he blacked out everyone's eyes and put weird mouths on them. He also took a bunch of old mini comic covers and crudely traced them and cruddily colored them in. And this is fine art, apparently. So the fine folks at Mattel then saw this art show and said, we need to make merchandise of that. So among other things, they released I believe it's 14-inch tall, vintage-looking He-Man on Battle Cat with funky colors, almost neonish colors, and spray-painted eyes. And released that through their Mattel Creations banner. Sean, you've been awfully quiet over there.
This is like an epic buildup. I don't want to interrupt you until I'm finally given a chance, because I'm not debating this one way or the other until we're done.
This is also $450. If I had the money to burn, I'm getting a Thunder Tank.
Hear that, Brian Flynn?
I'm getting that off the screen. So they released that 14-inch tall set of He-Man and Battlecat for $450. They released a set of art prints for $120. They got lunch boxes and T-shirts, all for ridiculous prices. I think the cheapest item was like $50 or $60, and in my humble opinion, it all looks like garbage. And and I think most of the internet has agreed. And we'll get to the biggest issue, in my opinion, in a minute, but just the Madsakis stuff on its own, all the stuff Mattel could do, and they see this garbage art and go, we need to do that. Not, let's get Larry Houston to do something, vintage inspired for us. Not, let's get some of these great artists around the fan community to do something for us. No, this random artist who spray painted over their figures, and they're like, yeah. Baffling.
Yeah, when I first saw that image, the one that you had up, I thought it was a joke.
So did I.
I'm like, okay, so this is take your kid to work day, and somebody had a vintage He-Man and a Battle Cat, and some kid just decided to go crazy with paint and turn it into this version. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. And then it's like, that's $450. I'm like, excuse me. I guess the way in I'll say is I don't, like you said, I don't begrudge anybody who has a knowledge of what they like in art and a knowledge of even, modern art and what that could be in the art community. Yeah. But here's where I know both of us are coming from about this. It's like, why?
Yes.
Why is this even something that's considered versus doing anything else that actually might fit the brand? Because my biggest point of contention about it is Masters of the Universe, as much as we love it, and as much as other fans out there love this, it is not a pop art brand that it's not something like I know there are people out there that they might do like the Superman logo and do something crazy with it, and you could consider it pop art because that character from 1939 or whatever all the way up to, or 29 I guess, or whatever it was when the character first came out until now has gone through so many different things that you could do. Here's his logo doing something different, or the Batman logo or whatever. But when I look at what this is, the brand has never been that. And my biggest problem is the brand, if you take the pop culture into it, the brand usually becomes a farce or a parody if you go pop culture with it, because people are relying on Four Non-Blondes video, memes, and all this kind of stuff. And they're not looking at it from like the way that the fans would look at it, where you're looking at the primal side of it, the adventure side, the barbarian side, like we were talking about just last episode, and instead you get this like, okay, this weird nostalgia that feels like, why are you doing this to this line that it's a part of 80s nostalgia, but there's so much more richness to it. And then you're letting people do this and saying $450 and you need to buy it because it's now.
Because it's this guy. And from what I understand, he does have a connection to He-Man. I guess when he immigrated to the United States, he watched He-Man. It helped him learn the language. Great story. Perfectly fine for an art exhibit. Whatever. Whatever inspires you. And that's great for him. But for Mattel to go out there and go, yes, this needs to be one of the faces of our brand. Like, we are... They're not pushing to get these cartoons out. They're not pushing to get books
Yeah.
out. They're not comics, anything. They're like, no, that artist spray painted. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How is
Makes
this
no
going to promote
sense.
your brand? All you're catering to, yes, and there probably are a niche amount, a very small number of crossover fans that think these designs look great and want this stuff. But I think for the majority, you're targeting these fine art people who like the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that help grow your brand, which is supposedly the whole point of Origins, the whole point of everything you're doing now? You had to stop classics, you had to do all this, put the brakes on all this stuff to start all this new stuff to
Yep.
grow your brand. And this is not gonna grow that brand. None of these people are that buy these prints or this figure are gonna go out and support Origins or support the new cartoons when they come out. Besides those who already were going to anyways.
Mm-hmm.
You're not giving us the fans anything that they really want. The internet has resoundedly, and there are, like I said, there are some people who have said these look awesome. I can't wait to get them. But for the majority, from what I've seen, is people mocking it or being negative or, not liking it. So
Yeah, and go ahead.
but
Sorry.
they released this stuff Wednesday, I think, and it sold out in less than 2 minutes, Sean. Everything, every product every Madsakis product they had in Mattel Creations sold out in less than 2 minutes. Can you believe that? What an amazing accomplishment that this stuff is so fan demanded, fan wanted. 2 minutes sellout, less than 2 minutes, everything sold out. God, I was ready to say I was wrong. I was ready to go, well, I guess there is a market for this. I guess I'm the minority. Oh, wait. Reading on in the Mattel press release. Everything sold out in less than 2 minutes. Down towards the bottom. More product available Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. If everything sold out in less than 2 minutes, how can there be more product available Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, in Mattel's world, sold out means we pulled the product to make it seem like people wanted it. We're going to release this press release that shows it sold out, but luckily we have more available on Saturday and hope that come Saturday, people will buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And they did sell some stuff. I mean, I've seen people post that they bought stuff. But, this is, even Matty Collector at least waited, 6 months or so before releasing the second run of figures. They actually sold out their whole allotment. But yeah, 2 minute sellout, more product available Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
It's I just keep scratching my head ever since they stopped classics. I'm like, why are we going the ways that we're going with this line? And ever since that ended, there's this feeling of they don't know what to do with this. And they're doing everything they possibly. It's the whole spaghetti against the wall deal.
Yes.
Throw it at, keep throwing things, see what sticks. And again, like if I was thinking of a line that you could do something pop culture with, where it's modern art. I mean, like I said, DC superheroes, Marvel Ninja Turtles. I could see all that. That's more modern than a barbaric toy line from the 80s,
right.
And I keep looking at what they're doing, and I'm like, does anybody at Mattel have any concise? This is what they want to do.
No.
Like it baffles me, and then like you said, if there is a no as that, then how are they expecting this to actually work? And how like we're here as fans going, wow, it could be like the next generation of Masters now, and all, and it's like, no, this has a bigger potential to fail. Maybe even than 2000X did, and it's not because of oversaturation of the product the way that they did. It could be now it's just scattershot and it's all over the place and it doesn't make sense with what the line is supposed to be.
And the worst part about it is if they would just release a 14-inch tall He-Man on Battle Cat vintage style without the crazy colors in the spray paint and put it at $450, that would legitimately sell out. I know there's enough fans
Agreed.
that would buy that.
Yeah.
They're releasing those hats with the Masters of the Universe logo scribbled on it. If they would just release a hat with the Masters of the Universe logo on it, the same one on their Origins packaging, it would sell out.
Yeah.
If they were releasing lunch boxes. If they released lunch boxes with just that logo on it, it would sell out.
Sure.
It's like, you guys, you're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. Because you could keep this stuff in stock and sell a ton of it year round.
Yeah.
And people would eat it up. But you won't do that. But you'll do these limited run pop culture things.
Yeah. And it doesn't, again, the brand doesn't make sense for this at all. Like, they had the crystal clear Skeletor. And in that way, I'm like, okay.
That looks like a stroke of genius now. I mean, compared to this.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. Is like, when you think of, okay, that move was something where it's like, okay, we haven't had a line where the figures have the articulation that they have for this. So the fact that if you enjoy Origins and you got that figure, you could see the inner workings and go, oh, this is how they engineered it. That's kind of cool. Right. And you could appreciate the engineering of the figure in a really cool way versus, taking the whole thing apart or whatever. I mean, one of the things about what this is, and we didn't even touch this yet, is the prints that he did are prints based on actual art pieces that have already been done. It's not like he's doing anything new. He's not doing anything revolutionary. It's basically the equivalent of if I gave my 4-year-old a crayon and tracing paper and said, have fun, he could maybe do kind of what the Madsakis thing is. Nope. It is where the heart and soul of that piece was, which is Emiliano's artwork. And it's like, so what your brand is doing now, and this is just my opinion personally about what this effort is you want to look at what came before and you want to deface it in order to try to get other people in and do a whole, oh, well, we're just kidding. The brand doesn't really mean that to us. It means this new thing that's, look how edgy and look how, now it is and all that. And it's like, no, underneath it is actually Emiliano's art. Underneath it is Alfredo Alcala's artwork. And all that they're doing is letting somebody deface it and turn it into some kind of weird street art. And I'm sorry, if he was doing his own actual composition, his own artwork to say, here's my take on Masters of the Universe, I wouldn't be nearly as this about it. But it's like, as somebody that does artwork, if somebody did that to something I did, I'd be pissed because the thing at the end of the day, both the toy line, the original toy line, and any toy line that they've done, as well as the art branding of anything, it was the culmination of hours of manpower, creativity, and talent.
Yes.
And when I see what this is, like when you look at the Emiliano pieces that are beautiful, and
they're on the
he took his, he really and truly did service beautifully the Filmation feel,
and this
but
is
made it his own.
Emiliano's work. He did not, he did not copy and paste or any of that. He drew these two.
Yes.
Obviously an homage to the Filmation. They're meant to look like that, but they are still, and that's where a lot of people are having trouble here. They're like, well, it's Filmation He-Man. Yes, but he drew it. He took the time. He took the energy. He drew them. He composed them. they are his. No, he can't
Yeah.
copyright the characters, but the pieces are his.
Yes.
And all Madsaki did was put a piece of paper over it and scribble.
Mm-hmm. And the colors aren't as vibrant or bright,
They're
and
disgusting.
it's basically like a
Gotta get this
really, yeah. It's like
What's that thing where you used to like, you had a plate and you put a piece of paper over it and you like rub the side of the crayon. You remember those things?
Yeah, it was. I don't know, like a.
I can't think of the name.
They
of
did
it.
that in Indiana Jones, the rubbing to get the next
Well,
thing of the.
I remember when we were kids,
Yeah.
my sister had like a set of them where you would do that,
Yep.
and that's what it looks like. It looks like you just
It
scribbled.
does. It looks
over
like
a
he basically
plate.
he did an ink splatter over it instead of a rubbing or whatever. But yeah,
Ugh.
and it's like if I was Emiliano right now, and if I was anyone related to Alfredo Alcala, I'd look at what this guy did and go, this no, like what the original people who did those pieces did. It's like that's hours of their life that they put into doing this piece and to making the layout and to refining it to make it look like the style of, like in Emiliano's case, Filmation, in Alfredo Alcala, just his own art. And I feel like everything about what they're doing, they might think it's modern art. I look at it as it's defacing something that means something to me and other people. And if you commissioned him to do his own art prints, where okay, here's a He-Man art print, here's a Skeletor art print, and it's in his style, fine. Don't have it be the same exact. I mean, the layout is the exact same layout.
It is.
As what Emiliano did. He didn't even change characters. Like, he didn't put Beastman on a different side. It is a tracing, and it's like, and like if I got to talk to Masters fan and customizer extraordinaire the other day, Joe Amato, and he brought it up to me, and just to paraphrase what he said, if he or I or anyone else who's artistic in the community would have done something similar to that, we would have gotten ourselves laughed out of every single group, and they would never talk to us again.
There have been people who have just kind of traced Emiliano's or Ed McGuinness or whoever, and people just rise up and they're like, "That's not your artwork."
Exactly.
And but this guy, it's like, oh yeah, this is amazing. This is great. This is fine art. Let me drink my tea here. Ooh.
Yeah. Shmeh. Yeah. Yeah. And it really does make me just look at Mattel and go, why? What? Right. None of this makes sense to me. And I don't know what their big picture is. And I don't even know if they know what their big picture is. I feel like everything they're doing right now is, oh, dear God, do everything you possibly can with this brand to make it visible. But not by defacing the good stuff that we've grown to love.
They don't really have
that's not
any
how you do
love or passion or any sort of personal connection to this property other than this is a toy line that can make us money.
And that's what's sad. Like, okay, 5 years ago was when I finally said I need to get classics, because I have been so tired of missing the boat on classics. And 5 years ago was also when I realized, holy crap, there's a bunch of Facebook groups that are Masters of the Universe centric, and I really was happy to start joining these communities. And part of the reason I did that was because the other stuff that I was really passionately into was corporate. It really was showing how corporate and how little my voice and my dollar mattered, because it was the machine that was going to go however it wanted to, no matter what. And yes, Masters is a corporate entity. Mattel is a corporate entity, and Masters is a brand they create. But at that time, there was still this feeling of, you can come home again. You can come to us, and we still have some really great stuff that you're going to love. We have the new classics line, and they were really, it was like the underground movement. It was like the Rebel Alliance of, here's this toy line that it's still going. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now the way that Mattel's doing it, I'm really feeling that it's corporate again, and I'm really having a hard time embracing anything they're doing with this line, because I'm like,
But even
sorry, like, Classics did it better. Super 7 has more reverence for what this is compared to what the own home branding, the corporate entity that's supposed to be its home doesn't get it
well, and that's
anymore,
the thing. The people who were working on this back in the late 70s, early 80s, honestly loved. Even if they didn't love He-Man, they loved the genre. They loved something, and they brought that to it. The Mark Taylors, the Roger Sweets, everybody, Alcala, everybody who worked on it back then. Larry Houston, Rob Lamb. They all had a
Rudy
Larry
Abrera.
DiTilio. They all had a
Yeah.
passion for fantasy, for sword and sorcery, for something, and they brought it to it. And that's what's, even though it was all corporate back then, and it was spurred by a corporate initiative to try and get a boys' toy in the market, they still were like, well, I'm going to take the stuff I like and I'm going to put it into this brand.
Yeah.
So they still had that passion, that history. And like I said, the current management just sees dollar signs. How can we have to hit this sales goal? How do we hit that? And that's all they're crossing their I's and dotting their T's. That's exactly what they're doing now.
It's true, and it makes me, like I said, it doesn't feel like home anymore in some ways, and it doesn't mean I'm leaving the communities on Facebook, and it doesn't mean I'm giving up on the brand, but I'm just looking at these decisions and just going, this is all so that you guys can justify still holding this brand in house, but honestly, like, I know Hasbro has had their issues with how the classified line has been. But I mean, at least there's this feeling of they still have a reverence to G.I. Joe somehow, where they're not turning it into a farce or turning it into what they're doing with this. And I'm like, it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I feel like that's way more on the right rails compared to what this is now, where Mattel's dabbling in all this artsy stuff. And it's like, that's not what we want. That's not what we need. We want a cartoon. We want a movie, possibly. We want figures that are going to be excited about. We want more storylines. We want more comic books that are taking this seriously. And it's all in this weird. It feels like it's fumbling constantly to get to the next level versus how if there's a strategy and you move forward in a have momentum in that direction.
At the end of the day, Mattel, ask yourself, what would He-Man do? He wouldn't rip off.
That's true.
On to happier topics. We have a giveaway coming up. You want to talk about that, Sean?
I'll let you cover that because I just had my rant here. Okay. I need a moment. I got the power in me. Caffeine.
Let me see if it's going to completely destroy us. I'm going to try and go live on Facebook at the same time. Just for fun. I think we're live.
Oh, no.
Yep. It says we are.
All right.
What's up, everybody?
We hacked the system.
How we all doing today? Give people a second here, see if they hop in. We're just in the middle of recording an episode. We wanted to jump on here and talk to you guys about the giveaway, the live episode we got coming up.
Gather round.
Just had an epic rant from Sean there. So that was fun. All right. Oh, Manny. What's up, Manny? How you doing today, bud? Just about to talk about an announcement we got. We got a live episode coming up this weekend. But before we do that, I'm going to go over right now, while I'm live. I started a little contest last night in the group, and I'm going to finish it now.
Oh, here we go, because I saw that one.
I'm going to do it. without looking who was the last. All right. Done. Congratulations, whoever the winner was. All right. So that person who just won, which I guess I can look now, Andrew Bowers. Congratulations, Andrew. You have not only won a Battle Cat and Roton Mega Construct set, but you've also got a point in our upcoming episode. Joe Amato, you did not win anything at all. Ever.
Oh, you. You guys.
Okay. So, and I know Skelly Vader, he's also got some points already. I think maybe 2. I could be wrong about that, though. But yes, this Saturday, we are going to do a live episode. We're going to do a trivia contest for some fabulous prizes. Let me show you some of the good ones. Oh.
I was just going to actually riff on that and say fabulous secret prizes were revealed, but then it's like,
well, we do have some secrets.
We can't say that.
But I'm gonna hit the top ones. So here's what's up for grabs, guys. You got a Mega Constructs, Panther and Point Dread set. That'll be one of the prizes.
Ooh, very nice.
Well, you could also win your own copy of the Power in the Honor Foundation Catalog Volume 1. Brand new, unused. Beautiful stuff. Covers
Beautiful.
All of a lot of the concept art and everything leading up to the creation and the production of Masters. And I've also got a PowerCon exclusive She-Ra.
Wow.
Yeah, some good prizes here.
Nice.
This is for our 1-year anniversary. And yeah, we're just going to get on. We're going to... Joe. Joe says that he's going to screen cap photos of us, trace them, and sell prints for $250 each.
I think if somebody did that to me, you wouldn't even get $2 out of it. But hey, go for it. See what happens.
Go for it, Joe.
Dartboards around the world are waiting. For me.
So yes, this Saturday, 4 p.m., we are going to get on YouTube. I'm going to create the link once we're done here. After we're done with this episode we're recording right now. Join us live on YouTube. Answer some questions. Top 3 winners get to pick these top prizes. And maybe, depending on how many people we get, we'll throw away some other, door prizes and stuff. We'll just see how it goes. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's our thank you to everybody who has supported us over the past year, over a year now. And it's going to be a fun time. And don't forget, guys, we've also got the 200 subscriber giveaway still going. As soon as we hit 200 subscribers, we'll give away a Power and Honor Foundation book and an Origin Scare Glow. And last I looked, I think we're about 150, so we're right there. And just our way of saying thanks, and we appreciate everybody.
But we'll say it anyway. Thanks, and we appreciate you.
We do. All right, guys. So, real quick here before we sign off and get back to finishing our episode, I'm going to throw out one more trivia question. Whoever is the first to answer this over on the Legends of Grayskull Facebook page gets a point, so you can already have a point going into Saturday's giveaway. Okay, this object is the only object on Eternia that can summon and control the mighty sea demon Bakul. So if you know what that object is, go post it over on the Legends of Grayskull Facebook page. And you've got a point. All right.
And if you want to do a video where you actually say "Bahor" like merman,
Your best
feel free.
Your best merman. Look, Sean even gave you another hint already.
Because every time I hear that name, that's the only person I keep thinking of. Is oh my god, the amount of times he said it in that episode.
All right, guys, we're gonna head back. We're gonna finish our episode. Stay tuned. We hope y'all can join us Saturday. And until next time.
Until next time.
All right, guys, we're back from Facebook. How you doing? So I hope everybody can join us. Oh, I think Joe's already got it.
Well, I would expect nothing less than that from him.
The Crimson Pearl.
That wouldn't surprise.
Absolutely, Joe. The Crimson Pearl.
Now you have to do the one thing you hate and give him props.
I do have to give him a point. And honestly, I was talking to him this week too, and I told him we weren't going to mention him on the show. So I also.
Oh well, I didn't. You didn't tell me that. You told him that because I was.
True.
What he said though was very relevant in what we were just talking about, and it's so true, and that's why I'm sorry, Mattel. This is where you're tripping up. So
we were chatting back and forth a lot too. So okay, listener questions. Let's do some listener questions. This is some fun stuff.
All right, so the last time I fielded out listener questions, we had 2 come in, so we're going to go through there because last episode, our remastering really went, we went the distance on the remastering for that one. It's just how it was. So back at the middle of January when we had the last one, David Clark started off things and said, thoughts about Origins at retail in 2021, the new Eternia minifigures, and the Battle Ram Hot Wheels toy.
Yes.
You can't do what I do on my other podcast to do that because that's kind of how I am. Okay. We start talking Origins, I go, yes. And then I move on from there.
So just our thoughts in particular on the Origins line?
It just says thoughts about my guess is I know how he is about this, and it's the idea that now it's at everywhere versus it being only at Walmart.
Covered that for the most part back when Big Bad in our New Year's episode.
Probably.
Basically, I'm of the mind it's great that they're coming to every retailer. I hope it helps the distribution for those that want it. And I hope they keep pushing the envelope and trying to give us something a little unique or a little different rather than just complete rehashes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for me, I look at it as, hey, if you're a fan of Origins and you don't want to deal with Walmart, this is the year for you because I have seen them. I was at Target actually just last night, and they had Battle Cat, they had Skeletor, and they had He-Man right now. And I know they had Panther recently as well and some stuff. So it's like, okay, if you're not into Walmart, Target's definitely doing its job. But I've mostly only seen Skeletor and He-Man at the Target that I go to. So they're still the evergreen deal.
Evergreen. Thank you. You knew what I was about to say. Remember,
I knew I was going to hear the wrath of the Dooch if I said Wave 1. I knew Evergreen was the way to go.
And did you see that they're still manufacturing them because there are now He-Man and Skeletor coming out with the new mini comic. The was it Double Trouble that came with the Scareglow wave?
Mm-hmm.
Double Trouble. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so now you can tell that they're refreshing them. They're actually still making them because it's coming with the newer mini comic in the package. Someone posted that the past week. So
okay, that's cool.
Well, the Hot Wheels Battle Ram. Yep, sign me up. I got the Wind Raider. I actually found the Land Shark. I have actually 2 Land Sharks. Another Land Shark is going to come in a giveaway this week. We're going to be doing stuff all week, guys. Stay tuned to the Facebook page And I think I'm gonna pop live on YouTube once in a while too, just to give the non-Facebook people
Just to shake it up.
Well, give the non-Facebook people a chance to get some points and some prizes beforehand. Yeah,
Sure.
Those metal recreations, the Wind Raider Land Shark, are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm all in.
I love
I'm
that
all
they
in.
have the box art. Yeah, like that for me, it's a piece that I'm not ever taking off the card because that whole presentation
Actually, I was gonna-
works. I have the Wind Raider.
Hey, Lucas.
I
you
haven't
busy?
found the Land Shark.
He was here a minute ago. I was actually gonna open mine. Hey, you want to run upstairs and grab the Land Shark off my dresser? Thanks. I forgot to bring him down.
Oh, we're gonna do an unboxing.
I was gonna open it. What else we got? What was the third thing?
He said the new Eternia minifigures as well.
I love the minis. It's a great line. I don't like that they took them out of the playset clamshell because I was really looking forward to the slime pit. But the card looks cool, so
Land Shark.
and I'm really looking forward to getting the vehicles. They just are releasing the Ground Ripper and the Rotan, so those are really cool for the mini signs. So I'm all in. The minis and the Mega Constructs are where it's at for me right now. So I'm gonna hurt Sean right now.
No, you're not hurting me. I'm not a min on card guy by any means, but for me, the Wind Raider, I only found one in the wild. I'm like, I'm keeping that min on card. I'm good to go there.
And they did a good job on him. The mouth.
Does it? It does open.
It opens,
nice.
and the guns do the pivot.
The pivoting, yeah, nice.
I doubt I can get the camera to focus in that small, but it's actually got all the computer, stickers like it should. Vintage scaled down there. I mean, it's a great recreation. Looks great. The detailing on it's perfect. It's got all the details and everything. But yeah, these little guys are great. I love this kind of stuff, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. You can just stick it, wherever. And it's good to see Land Shark finally getting some love because this was one of my favorite vehicles as a kid, and you don't see it a lot. So.
Yeah, the thing about that one, like my favorite vehicles for the villains were actually Spydor and Land Shark more than Rotan, but Rotan always gets the love. It's like, come on.
I had the Rotan. The Rotan was a good one too. I didn't have Spydor. It probably would have been mine. I love that book that featured Spydor, the Golden Book.
Mm-hmm.
I just never had
it.
Yeah. What about you? You didn't answer about the minis.
I haven't. That's the hardest part about where I am right now. Is I haven't gotten into the Origin stuff for multiple reasons. The Hot Wheels ones, if I see those, I want to grab them. The minis, I have He-Man Skeletor and the Slime Pit He-Man, and my kids got their hands on them, and I haven't seen them ever since. So I'm very much like I don't know how to handle this. If I buy more stuff. Yeah. I don't see it ever again because my kids want to automatically grab it, and then I find it months later in the couch or who knows. So I like that they're out there. I guess the way I am about it is I'm very middle of the road where I go, I'm happy it's there for those who like it, and I don't know if I can do everything there is, but I like that there's some options for fun. You can have the fun minifigures. You can have an Origins figure, which is more traditional. The Hot Wheels ones, that to me is the metal and the fact that they actually let the mouth move up and down. With the Battle Rim, are they going to have it that you can take it, like pop the sled off the front?
Oh, maybe the sled. Yeah, I thought you were going to say the missile. That'd be cool. I could see them doing the missile or the sky sled coming off. That
I kind of want that for that reason if they do it, because that would be. It's like you kind of hope they do, but then when I saw that the mouth's moving, I'm like, maybe they will go there. So. Yeah. So anyway,
I've got one from YouTube.
You do yours, and then we'll come back to the last one here. Then that's cool.
Jason Havlick. He asked what figures that were never made that you would have liked to have seen. I know we've covered variations of this before, but let's throw them out there again. Honestly, for me, most of my stuff boils down to Filmation, especially the villains. Give me Dragoon, give me Negator, um, stuff like that. I'm trying to think who else. Yeah, I think those
Mhm.
are my two big ones that weren't made. Malactha, I think should have been made. I still can't believe that Classics never got to him.
Hmm. Yeah, for me, like I always go back to classics because that's always my happy place. And for me, the number one will always be 2000X Prince Adam
Yeah.
because he is my absolute favorite version of Prince Adam. I love that he looks starkly different from He-Man, and it makes the transformation even more interesting in that way, and it makes it less obvious that Adam's not here, but He-Man, it always had a better feeling to me. And then when it comes to other ones,
Well, how about Never Made?
I
Because technically 2000X Adam did have a figure.
2000X was made, so never
Never Made.
made. Let's see. Oh, I should have looked at that question before we got recorded because now I'm like, what? The 3 hours of sleep's going nowhere. I'm feeling it already. Honestly, okay, never made. There are creations that have shown up in things um, since the lines have ended
Mhm.
that I actually would love to have. Like, to be honest, I'll represent for a friend of the show, Crimson Countess. I think would be great.
Yeah. Yep,
You know,
she would be a good
she was
figure.
never made. I mean, she's a newer character, but she was never made to this point. And in my opinion, having like a woman or a female figure who's a powerful female figure like that, that's like Chakotay level to me. Of I'd love that representation on my shelf and put her in the mix. Uh, Dragoon is one that when I was a kid, yeah, I would have loved to see him. And we talked about it early on in our show, as in like early in the early episodes. The fire people
True.
in
Filmation.
what
Curse of the
what's
Spellstone.
the episode? Curse of the Spellstone, one of your absolute favorites.
Yes.
I would have absolutely loved translucent versions of those guys, especially in classics books. Those would have been
100%.
amazing to get.
Yep.
So yeah, right off the top of my head, that's what I can think
So
of.
many options.
Yeah, and what kills me, I was listening. I like when I work, I usually listen to toy videos, just because it's my happy spot. And it makes me want to go and visit my toys downstairs and everything. And every time I listen to the Spectre Creative ones, and he always talks about, we were scraping the bottom of the barrel and there was no more money for it. The interest wasn't there for some of these other. I'm like, are you sure you talked to the right people? Because there's still a huge amount of stuff that if you would have brought it out, I guarantee you it probably would be sold, and like there's certain ones that if you didn't have it when you were a kid, I guarantee you people would have been like, dude, I want that because I never had it when I was a kid and I was watching the show, like, I don't know.
You just
And beasts, other beasts and monsters, like we would talked about too, would have been
you
cool.
just gave me. I know exactly what our first Patreon episode is going to be, Sean.
You're welcome.
It is. And I'm not gonna. Our Patreon's out there if you want to go search it out. I'm not gonna actively promote it again until we actually get at least one episode on there, because I feel like there needs to be something on there to start with. I was thinking about that the other day. But all right, guys, here you go. If you're interested, our first Patreon episode is going to be my uncensored thoughts on Spectre Creative, the YouTube channel. Most of you
I got a
haven't noticed,
feeling.
I have been quiet whenever that is brought up. So, and with our Patreon, we're going to try and... It's going to be some stuff that you won't get to see on the show proper. And there's going to be a little more freedom and a little more relaxedness. So, I'll let y'all know once that gets up. But that will definitely be our first Patreon episode.
Put the kids to bed and stay up late for that one, folks.
All right.
We're legends up at night.
Legends late night. All right, last question. What we got?
Last question. is from Skelevator.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
And the way this printed out, because I can't look at it on my phone and record at the same time, it's a little weird, so give me a sec here. He says, I'd love to hear your opinions about the potential animation style or styles of the forthcoming Masters of the Universe Revelation series on Netflix. During PowerCon 2020, I heard Kevin Smith state that the series will begin where the Filmation series ended.
Yeah.
This means to me that the characters will be animated in a style similar to Filmation. However, the series is being promoted as Netflix anime. Then I also heard, and I can't remember who said this, that the animators have taken an inspiration from the vintage toy box art, which made me very happy. What aesthetic, realistically, are you guys expecting to see represented on the screen when Revelation premieres?
Realistically, look at Blood of Zeus and Castlevania, and that's gonna be your style. I mean, that's what they've done, and I haven't watched either series, but looking at images from the series, they are both very similar in style. I expect to see, yeah, it's gonna be a darker tone as they are a little more muted, and I think maybe even inadvertently it will take you back to that early box art. You know, the grimmer, the darker. Don't expect Filmation, and Kevin has backed off from that finally in the more recent interviews. He's finally stopped throwing that Filmation continuation out there. I think he got yelled at by somebody because for a while there he was riding that heavily. You know, oh yeah, it's next episode of Filmation, continuation of Filmation, and I think finally he realized, oh wait, no, I'm not getting my point across. I think what he's trying to say is it's gonna feel He-Man. It's gonna feel like you're like we said before earlier with the Madsakis stuff, where we're going, what is this? You're not gonna feel that with this new episode of the show. You're gonna jump into Revelation, and it's supposed to just feel like going home. It's supposed to feel like, oh, here's a He-Man. So, but yeah, as far as animation style, I think you just look at Blood of Zeus, Castlevania, and maybe they might brighten it up a little bit because, I mean, Masters is, you know, even with the grim and dark, it's still got very bright tones as well. But for the most part, I think it's pretty safe to say that they're going to stick with their animation that they're used to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's another series, and I always forget the name of it. It was on Netflix as well, and it's about, I think it's like three kids who are trying to avenge their martial arts master, and there's this drug lord they're fighting against. And that one I feel might be probably more the style we're seeing than even Castlevania, which Castlevania leans really heavily anime. The other one that I'm talking about, it actually has a little more of like it straddles the line between anime and like American looking animation to an extent.
Yeah.
And I mean, when they said that about they're going to take inspiration from the box art, for me being who I am, that made me get giggly because I really hope that there is a feeling of like a Rudy Obrero influence to maybe the backgrounds and stuff. But yeah, I'm the same way where I look at it. It's like, okay, Castlevania, Blood of Zeus, the other series, the martial arts series that I'm talking about. I feel like those, if you look at those, that's kind of their house style.
Right.
And I know they have different styles they had like a promotional role they were putting out there to show all the different things that they do. But I think that's going to be your working style, maybe a little less anime. And from what I understand, the branding of Netflix anime isn't implicating that it's Japanese animation is going to just look like an anime show. It's the idea that's the overall umbrella of anything that they do animation is just Netflix anime. I could be wrong, but that's what I understood it as.
It's
somebody said that.
Their animation for adults. I think they're lumping it all under anime just to kind of distinguish it for their categories, and so it doesn't pop up on the the kids feed. Because again, they've said that this will not be for the kids. Whether that means blood, violence, language, I don't know yet, but. Yeah, they have come out and said, like this is for us adults that have grown up with the brand, not the new generation. So,
yeah, I mean, honestly, thinking about it, the initial image, which I know we've seen how many times now, and it's like that. I feel like the show is just going to be almost the end credits of Filmation, where we're going to get that shot. They're going to narrate it. And then the credits roll, and then we move to the next step. I'm not trying to lose hope, but I'm just at the point of throwing things at the wall about this show. Like, I don't know what to expect, and I know we have been waiting.
Yes, we have.
And we're still waiting, and it's like it's almost like a hot topic thing of what can you say that hasn't already been said, but everybody wants something about this. But if the style might be even close to that look for backgrounds, at least, I'm going to be a happy camper, because when they revealed that, I was sitting there with my jaw on the floor going, they're going to some visuals where I'm excited to see this finally, and so crossing the fingers on that one.
That's the color palette they use, the darker I'm okay with that. I think it could go really well, as long as the key is just keeping it foreign, making Eternia a different place, and just stay true to the characters. At the end of the day, that's what it is for me. It's going to make or break in the story. It can look as pretty as it wants.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't feel like Masters, then, who cares?
Well, I think it's safe to say, out of anything that they have right now, including Origins, I think the amount of expectation of this more than anything that they're throwing at the fans, this is the make or break it thing, no matter what. Because if this does not resonate with people, they're gonna be pissed that 2 years of their lives have been waiting for this, and if it doesn't fire properly, and that's not me trying to heap more onto Kevin Smith's shoulders or whatever. It's just what we're talking. This episode, by accident, ended up being us kind of talking about how is this supposed to work for the fans? Because I feel like the fans aren't as much of a thought as however way they can promote this is how they're going to do it for the Madsakis stuff and how Mattel's thinking is. And Mattel has such a tight lip on this that there's a part of me going, I'm hoping that means that they're really doing everything that they can to make it great. The other part of me is I hope they're not just, I hope they don't think the fans aren't going to be a factor in this, and they're trying to appeal to everybody too. Now Kevin Smith has gone on record. Oh, it's you're gonna love it. It's the fans. But I am a little more nervous with some of this stuff and their decision making lately to go but what fans are you hoping for? Are you hoping for us? Are you hoping for new people that don't know this as well as we do, or whatever?
Right.
So,
yeah, we'll see. But
yeah, I know, and that's I would love to be able to say, hey, next week we're going to see the teaser trailer. At least we got something coming, But no, we don't even have that going for us yet.
It's got to be soon, right? I mean, unless everything went off track. But even towards the end of the year, Kevin Smith was looking at animatics. I think the first episode he said was almost done. It was even past the animatic stage. And don't forget, there's that DC tie-in comic. The solicitations for that have to be hitting soon, because even if you're looking at a fall release, and I don't know, figured there's got to be at least 3 issues, right? Maybe 2. If you're looking at
some, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say minimum of 2, because he did say a lead-in series, which means it's not just a one shot, unless he misspoke.
That's I was going to say, in some cases, like with the Marvel movies, they'll put out a one shot so that you get the basics leading into a movie if you want to read that. And so there was a part of me going, maybe that's what they're doing here.
No,
And that
he specifically said
solicitation wise,
series. So
Okay, well then,
I
yeah,
figure
you're going to need.
to me 3 issues
Yeah.
minimum to make a series, but I guess technically 2 would be, a series.
Very mini series.
Very, very mini series. But
Yeah.
I figure at the latest an August drop on this show. So
Mhm.
then 2 issues that still puts you July, June, which means actually they come out, they hit shelves May, June with how the comic world works.
Mhm.
So I mean those solicitations have to be coming.
When I used to work at a comic shop, I want to say the solicitations usually were in 3 month.
Right.
It was 3 months out.
That's what I'm saying. So January,
if,
February, April should already be out.
Probably, I was gonna say maybe March.
Yeah.
It would be the beginning of us hearing anything about that comic tie-in then. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
we're
latest.
here. Tomorrow is February, so
exactly.
we're here. Like we have a chance of seeing more of this, which is a good thing finally. Yep. But yeah,
sooner
I'm crossing my
than
fingers. Yeah. Yeah, and if it goes darker, going back to his question, if it goes darker with the style, I'm actually in completely, because I've always wanted to see a darker version of it personally, even when I was a kid. So if they're going to give me something I haven't seen, but yet it still feels right, yeah, I will come on here as giddy as whatever, and I will be thrilled to rant for hours about how I have gotten this, and it's amazing and all this. So look forward to that, where I'm just gonna like I'll fall off my chair, my legs will be sticking up, and Matt's gonna have to cover the rest of the episode because I knocked myself out, and I'm so excited.
I can't wait. All right, well, I think that's a show. I think we got it.
That is a show.
So one last trivia here before we sign off. I love giving these points away.
I feel like my co-host is the Riddler sometimes.
Absolutely.
Riddle me this, fans of Masters of the Universe.
All right, I'm going to read you this bio from the Character Guide and World Compendium. Same rule. The first person who posts on our Facebook page and gives the correct character name gets a point. So you can go into this weekend's episode already up. This character was a dangerous being and a former acquaintance of Skeletor, who assembled an army of warriors from throughout space and time. He used his meek appearance to great deceptive effect, and even Skeletor feared his powers. So if you know who that is, go post, win a point, join us on Saturday, get some more points, and take home some fabulous secret prizes.
Bing, bang, boom, bibbity, bibbity, bobbida.
All right, Sean, you got anything to wrap us up with?
I am good to go. I'm glad we got through the questions, and happiness ensues.
Absolutely. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Make sure you hit those buttons down below, especially at subscribe. Ring that bell so you get notified, because we are going live this next weekend. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and until next time.
Until next time.